name's Louis, and I'm a psychic spiritual medium. And I just thought I'd make this video, and probably many others, to sort of tell you what it's like in the life of a medium. For me, it all started when I was about 5 years of age, and there was many things that used to go on in the house that I was brought up in. Lights blowing, people running up and down stairs, the hallway, your bedroom door opening and closing, and people pulling off your covers off your bed, people sitting on your bed, actually feeling the indentation and the pressure of somebody sitting on your bed that is much heavier than you. You imagine at 5 years of age, this is terrifying, absolutely terrifying, especially when nobody seems to talk about these things. So at 5 I start hearing things and noticing things. By 6, well, that just kicked off a whole new era of terror for me. We used to have things like knocking on your door, and then the latch of your door. We had an old-fashioned metal latch door handle, and it really made a clunky, real clunky, scary sort of sound at the best of times. But when nobody's opening and physically holding that handle, then you find the door opening, then you hear bump, 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 footprints, people walking. That is truly terrifying for a young boy. Well, one day I asked Mum, I said to my mother, Mum, I keep seeing things and hearing things. Now, my mum wasn't known for her temper, her good nature. She was definitely an unhappy, angry sort of woman. When I approached her with this and saying, I can hear these things and these things keep happening, oh, don't be so silly, and quite abruptly just turned around and just dropped the subject dead. So, okay, obviously it's in my mind. Yeah. So I'm playing on the floor in the living room, and I can hear my brothers, which lived in the house with us, playing upstairs. I can hear them talking and arguing like they do. Older siblings, they tend to do that, don't they? Well, I went upstairs because I wanted to see what was going on. Quite nosy, really, for a 6-year-old. I goes into one of my brother's bedrooms, expecting to see him there. And I go in there and there's nobody. And I called down to Mum. I said, Mum, where's Roy and Jim? Oh, they're out. They've gone out. They went out earlier fishing. Oh, so there you go. There's nobody there. Another coincidental thing? I don't think so. Okay, so that one day then, once going into that bedroom and noticing the distinct voices and then the distinct absence of my brothers, I decided, okay, there is something going on here. I don't know what it is, but I'm a young boy and this is scaring me. It's starting to really freak me out. So, what do you do when you're a 6-year-old lad? You go off and you start playing again. You know, that drama's over. Let's get back to my toys. I need my cars. So I started playing again. Then I seen this woman. She just walked past, but as she's walking past, her head just followed me as she's walking past, almost like a glide. There was no movement in her legs. She just glided past me, staring at me, and I can remember that look was, it was cold. It's a very cold look that just for a second it seemed like time stopped all around, but yet she still glided across the room. Now that terrified me, and I remember I had a coat, one of those Parker coats, you know, and I remember quickly taking that off and putting it over my head. Pure terror. But then things just got a little bit worse. So I'm already scared of what's going on. Who is this woman? What is she doing in my house? Why is she staring at me? You know, all these things. And then as I got the coat over my head in terror, I could see indentations from the inside of something pushing. And I could feel the force of this on the side of my face as I'm looking around the massive hood of this Parker coat. So I just stayed there. I tried not to breathe. I tried to breathe as slow as possible, thinking, oh, if you can't see me, then you're not going to hurt me. Then you'll forget that I'm there. Well, she didn't forget. And she just stopped poking. I very cagily took the hat off and looked. And she was just there, just looking at me. But yet this glare was slightly different then. It wasn't a cold stare. It was more of a friendlier, kind of like that Mona Lisa face, you know? But it's not really a smile, but it is a smile. And then, blink of an eye, gone. Then things started actively increasing. I seemed to gain more attention, especially to this dark energy. There was this dark figure. It was kind of like what you see when you on Aladdin's lamp, you know, you rub the lamp and then the whiffy genie comes out. Well, it was very much like that, but except you can see the form, you can see the head, you can see the arms, you can see the torso, then it goes into this wispy sort of mist, if you want. Then if you imagine taking the colour out and just having black, so this is black form, head, shoulders, arms, sort of out, and the body, then this wispy thing. Now that used to stand at the top of the stairs, and I would see this thing, nobody else seemed to, and I just didn't understand why. So there you go. I can see this thing, nobody else can, but nothing ever was said. The constant me running to mum and mum dismissing the idea straight away became a regular thing until I stopped. Then just all the things that I seen was kind of normal, and they stayed that way and just progressed in levels of terror for me. So getting back to this dark energy on the stairs, well, it was bad enough that it was there almost taunting me, because it would be blocking my path. But what made it worse was I could only step on one step of the stairs. There's like this invisible wall, and I go to walk up it, my head down, because I didn't want to look at it, but I can see it there, and I know it's there. So I'd always put my head down, and I hold onto the banister, and I'll try to walk up the stairs, and it's just like hitting a brick wall. There's nothing there, nothing visible, but I just couldn't pass. And that was the most weirdest, freakiest thing ever. And it would take 2 or 3 attempts of stepping off of that first step, trying it again. No, the wall's still there. And I'd have to do that 2 or 3 times until the wall wasn't there. Then it comes to the part where I'm walking up the stairs slowly. Now bear in mind, my mum didn't have much patience. So she's screaming and shouting at me like to get a bed. So I'm worried about mum and I'm worried about this thing here. I didn't know which one I worried more about. So anyway, I try walking up the stairs and I'm not looking. I will not give eye contact at all to this dark figure. And it would seem to just stay there. And it would want me to get as close as I possibly can as I passed it onto the landing and then to my bedroom. So there you go. I had terrors from the moment I wake up in the morning to the moment I went to sleep. But we haven't even got to what I think is one of the more terrifying things after being told to go to bed. I mean, bear in mind, I would try so hard to make up any excuse. Oh, I'm not feeling well, Mum. Can I watch this program? It'll be the news. What 6-year-old wants to watch the news? But me, I would try anything rather than go through that ritual every night of going up the stairs and going past this dark figure. Well, they seldom worked. Sometimes I would get away with it a little bit if our mum fell asleep, but generally, no, bedtime is bedtime. So there you go. I get to the stairs, I go through the invisible barrier part, and I go up the stairs, and I'm terrified by this dark figure that's standing there. Then it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 steps to my bedroom door. Remember what I said at the beginning of this about the doors opening and that clunky lock on the door. So I had this part. Now this part used to really, really terrify me more than the figure on the stairs, because what would happen here is I would hear these voices behind me, and I would hear lots of noises and lots of whisperings, sort of like that type of thing. Not clear. Sometimes I get the odd word, but generally it's just like a mass of people talking in a room and you're in the next room. That's what it sounds like. Well, I go through the dark figure stage, then I get to my bedroom door, then you got that wall of sound of people talking. Then I would slowly open the door because I knew what was awaiting me behind those doors, which is the same thing that happened every night. Well, I open the door, and before the door is fully open, I quickly put the light on. Once the light is on, then I can open the door, then close it quickly to try to stop the noises from the hallway, and in my eyes lock in the dark figure out. Well, there I have the light switch, and then I have my bed, and it's about a 2 foot little dash to the bed. So I have to time this. I can't just turn the light off and just casually walk into bed. I have to time this because every moment of darkness is pure terror. It was pure terror. So there, I'm catching my breath. I'm trying to compose myself. I'm 6. How much composing should you be doing at that level, that age? So there you go. I go to the light and I turn the light off and I run as fast as my little legs will carry me to the bed. Then I'll put the covers. Now, we were quite old fashioned. We never had duvets and stuff like that. It was like 3 or 4 blankets. So, you know, there's quite a few layers on that bed. So it was quickly grab all of it, jump into bed, and put the blanket over my head, and I would just have a little hole, a little space that I could breathe through. It was terrifying because it was only a matter of time that I knew that the next part of the nighttime terror thing would start. And sure enough, you can count it down. It's a good sort of 6-7 seconds after getting in bed and covering my head. That's why the whole timing of turning off the light and getting into bed was so important. I had to know exactly where that bed was. I knew I had to see with my eyes exactly where the corners of the blankets was, because every second counted. So, turn the light off, run, grab the blanket, jump into bed, cover my head, sort of making sure there's just a little gap so I could breathe through. Not see through, I never want to see through it. It was just to breathe. And I would slow my breathing down. I was barely breathing because I was so scared. And again, I thought, if I can make them believe that I wasn't there, then they would leave me alone. But it never used to work. So a good 6-7 seconds after doing the covering up routine, the blankets near where I was clutching with my hands, both hands so tightly, they would start to pull. And it really would, it'll be a pull like that. And the harder I gripped, the firmer the pull. This used to go on every single night. I'm only little, just this little boy, seemingly normal. And then after the pull-in, there would be a 5-second sort of calm. There'll be no pull-in, there'll be nothing. I'm starting to feel a little bit more safer because I'm thinking, oh, they pulled the blanket and they think that I'm not there. Wrong. Because after this, after a few seconds, then I would feel the bed, and the bed would just push down. Then the tugging would be more. There'd be more pulling of the blankets, and it used to just absolutely terrify me. Well, I'm gonna sort of get to the point with this story. This went on until I was 11 years of age, right up to the night before my father passed away. Now, every night from the age of 6, I'm doing this routine of running up the stairs, climbing into bed with the light off, with the blanket over the head, the pushing down of the bed, the pulling of the blankets, every night for years until I was 11. Now, in that time up to 11, I see things much more clearer. I hear things a lot more. Still nothing said in the house. Nobody says a word. But I see people a lot. Everywhere I go, everywhere I look, there'll be somebody there, there'll be a figure. Some smile at me, some not so much. And, you know, I sort of took this as normal. This is what everybody sees and hears and experiences. So, I'm 11. Night before my father passed away, I do the same routine again, and it still terrified me, exactly like I was still 6 again. Every single night was exactly the same. The mocking from this dark energy, the invisible barrier, the noises, the deafening sounds of people, but there's nobody visible there. This happened every night without fail. You could set your clock by it. Until this one night. One night, when I was 11, I'd done the same routine, cover my head, then the bed sinks down, and then the covers being tugged on again. But this time, instead of slowing my breathing down and trying to pretend that I don't exist, I don't know why, I just got brave. I think it's the only word. I was brave. And I just pulled my head blankets down and I sat up. And I sat up, and this shocked me. And it still gives me the willies now, you know. I sat up, and there's this older gentleman, this old man, sitting on my bed. And he's looking at me. He's got white hair, he had this white beard, full beard. And he was just there, he's looking at me. And he's smiling and he tilts his head. And that moment then, after the initial shock of who the heck are you, I felt so safe. I don't understand it. It was like all my fears and all my terror that I've experienced up to that point, they just lifted away, because suddenly there was somebody else. Even though I knew this guy, nobody else could see, you know. But for that moment, I didn't feel scared. I've always known scared. But that one moment, he's looking in my face, he's looking in my eyes, he was that far away from my face. To be honest with you, I think pulling off the blankets and sitting up probably surprised him as much as me looking at him surprised me. And he just looked at me and smiled, stuck his finger like that to his mouth. And I don't know, I instinctively knew what he was trying to say. He never spoke, just looked at me, raised his finger, just to say, shh. I led back down, did not cover my head, had my arms outside of the blankets instead of covering up, struggling to breathe for air. And I had a fantastic sleep. Best sleep I've ever known. The next morning I wake up, I go downstairs, and I had to tell somebody something about what I experienced. Nobody paid a blind bit of notice ever what I said when it comes to spirits and things and strange happenings in that house. But no, I ran downstairs and it was really quite eerie, because my mum was looking at this old photograph album that she got from the loft, and this old family album, which I'd never seen it before myself. But my mum's looking at it, turning the pages, and they were discussing I said, who's that? I said, that's him. I saw that man. I was so excited that here's that man. He said, that's your granddad. It's my granddad. I never knew him because he died years and years and years before I was even an idea. But there he was in that photograph, black and white. And everything seemed to make sense from then. You know, sitting on my bed, the tugging at my blankets. That wasn't to scare me. He was trying his best to console me, to try to let me know that covering up your head is not good for you. You're a child, don't cover up your head. The tugging was trying to get the blankets off of me so I could see him and feel safe, because he knew that I was a little different to most children. And that's kind of a nice thought, that he made it seem that it's okay to see people. It's okay. You're not alone. And that touched me. And I still remember it as clearly as if it happened yesterday. So that's my beginnings of my story. The dark figure on the stairs. Well, I kind of dealt with him as well. Remember, I said it was just before my father died, and I woke up early in the morning and I had this feeling that something wasn't right, and I just knew that my dad had gone. So I sat up in bed, I got out, put on my tartan slippers and put on my robe, went downstairs. And as I was coming down the stairs, I seen that dark figure there. And for some reason, I just shouted. I shouted so hard, "Leave me alone. You don't scare me. Leave me alone. You don't scare me. No more." Quite impressive. I thought I was 11, and I finally grew a pair, and everything changed from then on. I never had any worries about that dark figure anymore. After standing up and saying my little piece, he disappeared. I never had any problems again. I still had other things that happened in the house, but for me, seeing my grandfather really was the pinnacle part of the whole being a medium and understanding things aren't quite right and are not quite as you would think they would be. So there you go. I still never said a word to anybody, my friends and the rest of my family, that I could see and hear spirit and people that's not there. I never said anything. Not until I was about 16. And then things started unraveling for me a little bit further. I started to explore the facts of being a medium more. And I thought, well, if I could see these people and I can hear them, well, maybe I can help. And that is another story. for another time. For now, I hope you can understand a little bit more that being a medium is not to make a quick buck. Well, I'm giving messages for somebody, these messages are for somebody, and any real medium worth their salt wouldn't charge people for their messages from their loved ones. I believe that this is a form of gift, but it's a gift that everybody has. You, me, your auntie, your uncles, your cousins, your sisters, it don't matter. Everyone's got the ability to be a medium. It's just knowing how to do it and learning to explore what other people don't class as normal. Have to be a little bit open and a little bit understanding that sometimes things aren't what you think they are, and that things do happen for a reason. And just sometimes somebody needs to say and to give a message, and they need help. So as a medium, that's what I try to do, is to help people in the physical and in the spirit world. And if I could do so, then I will. And I'm very proud of it. But wow, I could do without it at such an early age. Well, anyway, thank you very much for listening. If you are listening, this is basically the life of a medium from an early age up to understanding things a little bit more. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned. I may put more of my encounters on there, and there has been a lot. So get used to this spud-like face. There'll be more from me again. Love and light to you.